Hello, how are you doing? Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome
Welcome,
to
welcome.
welcome to Tech Talk with T&E. Sorry about that. We had a little delay. We talked about how we were going to start this thing, and that didn't work. So,
No,
anyways,
but I can also say to like, follow, share, and subscribe to our podcast if it's something that interests you. If there's topics that you're wanting to know more about, we're absolutely open to suggestions. I'm sure not everybody wants to hear you and I just rattle on.
yeah, for sure. So, I think this is going to be next week we're going to start having some guests on. So, this week we've got some cool announcements and some things that have been going on. So,
Behind the scenes.
behind the scenes. So, well, good deal. Yes, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us today. Reach out if you have any questions. Put them here in the chat. We're happy to answer them for you guys. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's Monday.
Happy
Monday.
Monday.
Happy Monday. So, anyways, we do have an event coming up. SEO Spring Training Digital online, and a little bit about. I mean, we started looking at this right as soon as our live event was finished in May, and one of the reasons why we looked at doing this is because this is our 7th year coming up next year, and we always do get asked about putting on something either live or something that people from around the world can join and kind of have a one-on-one type of thing, be able to ask questions. It's not like a live stream to where you're live streaming a live event and you're not able to ask questions and find out more information about certain stuff. So this one's going to be a little bit different. Obviously, it's going to be a teaching platform, so it's not going to be just presenters up there presenting in a PowerPoint. They're actually going to be teaching things that you can take away to either help your agency or help your personal freelance work, or even taking stuff away that you can upsell maybe to clients. There's all kinds of stuff that's going to be gone through in these at this event. Especially, it's all around AI automation. There's going to be obviously AI and SEO type of topics also. There's going to be some agency growth with automations and AI. So a lot of cool things are happening with this event, and kind of brings us up to the first announcement. Elisabeth?
Well, okay, so I have some questions for you.
Okay.
I know for the tech day, we
Yep.
have been talking, and you're in charge of schedule, so there's a lot I don't know about that you and I haven't even talked about off camera.
Mm-hmm.
But on the tech day, there's going to be actual live builds, right?
Yeah, well, there's going to be live builds, the tech day, the VIP day, and even throughout the event on stage. Like I said, we're giving these teachers ample time to not just talk, but they're going to be teaching, explaining. The nice thing that I like about online events like this is that I can work on my home computer. So as I'm watching the teacher, I can also be doing it as they're teaching it, so to speak, to where that is very, very hard in a live event situation. So I'm really looking forward to that type of structure. But yeah, so tech and VIP day, I think the biggest difference between it's not really the amount, the type of caliber of people or anything like that. So we do have some people that requested to speak on those days or teach on those days. But still, the stuff on stage is still going to be the same way. They're still going to have plenty of time to teach. You're still going to have plenty of time to answer questions. And then we've got after hours stuff, so you guys can even go into more detail of learning stuff after hours. So it's set up to be able to get your questions answered and get you, product, services, processes, stuff like that you can actually use as soon as you're done with this event. So this isn't like take a whole bunch of notes, go back to your office, and then hope you can implement 10% of it. So this is more of, sit down for, an hour and a half with Adam Kreuneister and watch him build and build as he goes type of thing. So
Cool. Okay. Well, and I know you said that like same caliber speakers throughout, but I think based on the price point of the tech day and the VIP day, that there is more. There is a benefit to that. It's
Oh,
not, you know, I
yeah,
want to make sure that you're sharing that, like
yeah, there's definitely advantages to do the tech day, even more advantages to do the VIP, because the VIP includes everything. But yeah, it's set up. The people that want to speak those specific days, they probably didn't want to share with everybody, so to speak. Okay, so and I respect that. I've been teaching schema and siloing and all this stuff for a long time, and I don't get upset anymore when people take my stuff. It just happens. It is what it is, and move on. But there are people that are teaching things that specifically wanted certain days for, maybe I don't know if the audience would be different, but maybe somebody that takes something and learning something a little bit more seriously, if that's, I don't know, maybe the thinking of it. But
well, and I think part of what we're thinking too is that, like, we don't want someone to take someone else's idea and capitalize on it. Like, don't steal somebody's build and then go market and sell it as your own. So we absolutely need to be respectful of the people that are giving their time, their effort, their knowledge, their skill, their badass tech stuff.
Yeah,
so
100%.
You absolutely have to honor who shared it with you, and it's to maybe help your agency, help your business, not for you to go out and rip it off and claim it as your own.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the biggest thing that I like about these type of systems or these type of events is that yeah, you can sit down and we're going to have the schedule online here, hopefully today or tomorrow. So you guys will be able to see not only who's teaching when, but what their topic is. And then, but the biggest thing is that you just need to make sure that this is an online event. So you and your staff can sit down and watch this together. You guys, there's all kinds of different advantages to not hopping on a plane and going to stay at a hotel for 5 days. So, but yeah, take a look at the schedule when it comes out, and then make your decision that way. But like I said, it's Tech Day and VIP Day is super powerful. They always are. The main stage, is just incredible stuff. Also, the only disadvantage I would say to the main stage is they don't have as much time to teach as they do in the VIP and Tech Day. So, but you're still going to get. I'm still making sure that what people are teaching is going to be something that you can walk away with and use. That's why we're not taking this lightly. We're being very serious about these topics because, again, this isn't stand up with your PowerPoint presentation and show off 20 slides and get off the stage and move on. This is different. So
awesome.
I get advantages. So
very cool.
Good deal. Now, one of the things that we talked about for the VIP day, we've been kind of kicking around some ideas of what we want to add to the VIP day. Not necessarily as an incentive, but just more of a value add. So what we're going to do is we're going to include the first 12 months of access to SEO University. SEO University, we've been teaching courses and classes on there for about 4 or 5 years. And I got my schema course there and everything, but we're actually turning this into a membership university. So my goal is by the end of August, when this event happens, SEO University will be ready and live. We're kind of looking at different structures for security and stuff like that. But anyway, so this SEO University is going to be not just me teaching and Elisabeth teaching, but there'll be some other people that want to be involved. Marty Marion wants to put some stuff in there, and we're going to talk to Clint and all these other friends in our network to see who else wants to put stuff up in the university. So it's going to be a very, very cool teaching, learning program. Live Q&As, stuff like that, like everybody else does. But I've been wanting to do this since January. I did my last live class in January, February of this year. And after that, this was my 10th one. So after that 10th live class, I decided, you know what, let's start taking this and actually turning this into a membership course that people can log into and learn at their own pace, learn different topics compared to, hey, you got to follow this specific curriculum and stuff like that. So we're adding that to anybody that gets a VIP day ticket or a VIP day seat that we're going to add in the first 12 months of SEO University. We're not quite sure of the price point, but I can tell you it's probably going to be about, that $199 a month type of thing, especially at the beginning, and then the prices will go up. So the first 12 months, I mean, that's $2,000 plus of access to SEO University. So you're going to be able to have that with your VIP ticket. So, that pays for your VIP ticket right there. So anyways, I've got a lot of pride. Elisabeth and I have a lot of pride in SEO University. We've been doing a lot of stuff in there. We've taught a lot of people. We still have agencies that bring us their new employees or their new hires, and we put them through the university because especially for the on-page and schema, that's all built out. But now everything's built out. Now we're just trying to make sure to go from all the way to keyword and intent research all the way to reading server logs. So it's pretty much everything that, Salterra has been doing for the past 12 or 13 years, and everything we've learned, everything we've tested, all kinds of cool stuff. So we are including that now with the VIP ticket. So that will be added to the website and all that good stuff.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! The other announcement is, so this is set up to start on a Tuesday, Tech Tuesday, VIP Wednesday, and then Thursday and Friday is the main event. We're now adding a Saturday to this. So we're adding another day. So when I started doing this, I had people reaching out to me wanting to be involved in this as far as teaching. So it kind of morphed to where I was planning on having, 10 to 15 teachers, but now it's going to be a little bit more. So we are adding that third day. We're not raising the prices. So the 3-day event for the price of, what is it, $250. That's pretty freaking cool. So we are adding the third day. We'll update the website to make sure that we're going to do that, or make sure that it's on there. But and then I'll reach out to the teachers and get some teachers set up for Saturday. So that part of the schedule might not be live today or tomorrow, but everything else will. But that's pretty cool. So like I said, when we did this back in 2020, gosh, we had 72 speakers, 800 people come through in 8 days.
It was 8 days. It was 8 days.
Yeah. So, but obviously we were all stuck in our house and under lockdown, and a little bit different. But
a little different.
Exactly. So that's pretty cool news. So one of the things that we like to do when we do these events is we really want to make sure that we're not just providing value, but we're providing the right teachers teaching the right thing. And I have teachers that, AI is changing so quick and automations are changing so fast that the topics are changing also. So we still have a month before this event happens, and here we are, what's going to be AI and automation in 30 days? Who knows? So, but that's going to be cool because I want these teachers to stay up on the latest and greatest that they learn and want to teach. So it works out really, really well.
Yeah.
So, let me see.
Tell me, okay. So I'm going to shift gears for a little bit. I know that you have been doing a few things differently on your side. I noticed on social media, obviously you are, you're being good. You're not being controversial, which is nice, right? Like, is that
I've been good. I've been good for 2+ years. Thank you very much.
I know. Well, and part of it is like, it's just exhausting to get in sparring matches with people over something. Yes, people are passionate about, but it's just not the direction we personally want to go in. But you have been doing some little videos, some little things to give back, obviously, help and share with our community. And tell me a little bit about what you're doing, how you're doing it, why you're doing it, and all of that.
Well, one of the things, I'd been teaching a lot of the stuff, especially around, siloing, internal linking, schema, stuff like that. And it's frustrating, and I understand that the internet's a big, huge world and blah, blah, blah. But I still keep seeing the same things over and over and over again when I do audits on companies that people send me. And so I wanted to sit down, and these are little 5-minute videos. I think one went over to 6 minutes, and I was like, all right. Anyway, I'm trying to keep them around 5 minutes. And, so the first sequence I did was through internal linking and siloing. And I think there's going to be seven videos in that sequence, not counting Q&A. So the plan is to put out these little, I don't know if you call them
Snippets.
Snippets. Yeah, snippets, I guess it's called. And I'm trying to break it down in categorically. So I've done just a general video on just the importance of siloing and making sure your internal linking is correct. People have heard me say this. I still think it's if not the biggest ranking factor, one of the top ones is how you internally link your pages together, because it can also go the opposite way. And then I just started breaking them up into categories. So how do we internally link a service page system? And how do we internally link a local page system? And then, of course, the home page. And then the one I just released this morning is more about blogging and content clustering. We've been doing content clustering now for about 1.5 years, and it's incredible. It's awesome. If more and more people tested this, they would find out that there's so many things you can do with this type of content. But no, it is something that I wanted to do. I go for a drive. I love driving in the morning, especially going in the outskirts of the Gilbert area where we live and seeing the growth. It's amazing. I think Amazon has 3 million square feet plus distribution centers that are being built out there. And I just like going for a drive and doing stuff. So I figured out, hey, I'm driving. I might as well kind of teach or talk or whatever. So it is fun. It is something that I look forward to. I'm getting ready to start the Schema one. So I'm going to start recording the Schema one this week. And that one, I don't know how many videos it's going to be yet. I'm still kind of working that out. But I encourage people to listen to these things. I'm posting them into groups and all kinds of stuff, and then ask questions. I really want people to engage in these little mini videos, because I know people struggle with this. And unfortunately, in our industry, a lot of people, even though they learn something, they don't test it. They don't do anything to see if it's right, wrong, or indifferent. And it's really kind of frustrating. And I understand teaching's teaching, but I want to do little snippet videos that's very easy to sit down and watch, 4 to 5 to 6 minutes now. And then you can kind of ask questions and let me know what your thoughts are. And, hey, if you have a different scenario, let's bring it up and test it. So that's the idea of these things.
Okay, then I have a question for you. Like, I get as an agency owner, like, first of all, like, we're doing a lot of the admin stuff and the higher level stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So that key person may not necessarily have the time to get in and to test and try to see how that works. What is your recommendation for maybe an employee that wants to better their skills and abilities, but all they have is client sites and you don't want to test on client sites? How do you recommend somebody test, and what does that look like?
It's an interesting question. So, I firmly believe that someone in the agency, no matter what size agency it is the person that tests stuff. If you're an agency that has SOPs that maybe you purchased online, SOPs that you built out through AI and all that stuff, which there's nothing wrong with that stuff. Believe me, there's nothing wrong. The problem of it is that you assume that that's right. You assume that what situation that they went through to make these SOPs is the same situation that you're in. And so if you're an employee and you want to start testing, first of all, I would talk to your manager or whoever is whoever's your supervisor, and bring up your idea, bring up your solution. It's pretty easy for an agency to go out and buy a domain, put a basic website on it. You don't even need to have a theme or nothing. You can just put a basic WordPress website together with a WordPress theme and start testing. So it doesn't cost very much to test. I remember when we first started doing SEO, I was testing just because got my very first client was a client under penalty. So I didn't even have a freaking clue. Not only did I not really know how to rank a website, but now I have one that isn't even on the internet. His domain was 20 plus years old, and you couldn't find him anywhere, not by his brand name. Only way you could find him is by typing in his direct, URL. So I was forced to learn that way. I was forced to test. So I went out and I got 15 websites, and I've got, one host or 2 hosting accounts, because you can put multiple websites on each host. And I just started testing. I started testing backlinks. Back then it was all about backlinks. It wasn't about content. So, but if you're an employee and you have an idea to improve your agency that you work for, I don't know any agency owner or manager that wouldn't go for that. It's one of the things that Elisabeth and I always entrust our employees, is saying, look, if you've got a better idea, or if you can improve this SOP, let's test it. Let's see. And then we can either add it or not add it, but we'll have the results to be able to make that type of decision. But great question.
Okay. Thanks.
So,
once in a while I come up with good ones.
But it's just, you really have to, you can no longer be, just a fly-by-night SEO company anymore. So you need to be able to find out what's ranking in AIO, it's crazy also. I've seen, so many people just pop up out of the woodwork and say, this is how you do it, and this is what you need to do. And then nobody's kind of paying attention to, they're all changing. They're all changing on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. All these AI, results and all these AI browsers and everything are constantly changing. So for anybody to come out and say, this is the hard facts of how to get in here, I think is a little bit misleading. So I'm under the impression, and we test AI stuff all the time, we're seeing AI results just because we're doing really good SEO. We're doing really good on page. We're doing, social media. We're doing some video stuff. It's all inclusive. Press releases, all this stuff is inclusive to promoting your brand and your client's brand to show up in AI results. So I think it's a little bit, like I said, a little bit premature to come out and say, hey, I've got the magic figured out. You might have the magic figured out today, but when ChatGPT updates to 5.0, or if Perplexity updates, is that going to be the same way again? So test. I can't tell you guys enough, especially the AI overviews, press releases for sure. Great content for sure. Social media shares for sure. All kinds of stuff. YouTube videos, they're all brought in by one thing. They're not just scraping Google. They're not just scraping, social media. It's a whole conglomerate of all kinds of stuff. So really good SEO, we're finding really good results in our AI overviews. And then we're stepping it up. If we see not the results that we want, then we're stepping up some stuff. Maybe we'll do a second press release, or maybe we'll do some different backlinking through social media shares, all kinds of stuff. So, but yes, it's you got to be watching, you got to be testing. You can't just be the SEO person anymore. You got to be better. Do better.
Well, yeah, because SEO is changing so much. Yes, I know everybody has been saying for 10 years SEO is dead, but we're really seeing a lot of things to substantiate that right now, especially with AI. Like, yes, I know, you need to have your foundation solid, and we've always pushed and promoted that. Like, solid foundational on page is the standard baseline. Like, you can't deviate from that. But, there's more things that you can do out there.
Yep. And it's just, also pay attention to, basically market share. I mean, the AI results and the AI searches like Perplexity, there's still a small percentage of everything happening in the world. Google, Bing, Yahoo, they all still dominate AI results. The zero click thing is still, it's happening, but people are still clicking on organics. Anytime we have our strategy calls with our clients, a big percentage of their clicks are coming from organics. They're not coming from ChatGPT yet, or Perplexity yet. They're getting some, but it's nowhere near a high percentage, like 70, 60, 70% plus coming from organic clicks. So they're still out there. It's going to get worse. I mean, it's still going to continue to decline, but don't start panicking. Just figure out how to play the game and go out and play. It's no reason to panic. It's shifting. Let's just shift. Start doing some things. Start doing more than just backlinking and on page. Start suggesting to your clients to connect social media to your website. Start selecting or suggesting to your clients, let's do some YouTube videos or YouTube shorts or TikTok shorts or all kinds of stuff, ways to get your brand out there. It's still brand, always the brand.
Right. Well, I mean, and we've always known it takes 7 or 8 impressions for somebody to kind of remember you. And what are those impressions? Are they consistent? You know me, I'm a big proponent of consistency in branding. Yep. If your brand says one thing, make sure that you're always saying that and you're always reflecting that,
For sure. Yep, 100%.
You can't be all over the map, especially with, and I'm big on visuals, that for graphics. Like, there's nothing that irks me more than ugly graphics, but
yeah, I need to show you the graphic that ChatGPT made for my video this morning. I didn't post it, obviously.
I don't think you want to show me that. I don't think that that's gonna impress me. Yeah, and I know that there's some people doing some amazing stuff visually with AI because I've seen some really cool stuff. I'm a consumer of all of that, just like everyone else is. But I do see that there are some things that are lacking in some areas. I am not going to get images from ChatGPT personally. I'm just going to tell you right now.
And that's why one of the reasons I wanted to start these little videos while I was driving is because I still think, number one, the human contact is still super important, but I also think it's going to be 10 times more important next year because I think that AI is going to be so much, AI is going to be everywhere, so to speak. And I think people are going to now crave the human interaction. Of course, there's going to be a population that don't. That's totally fine. But I still think that, especially dealing with businesses, you're still going to want that human interaction. You're still going to want to say, hey, thanks for setting this appointment. Maybe have a introductory video about what to expect on the next call, something like that. But just having more human interaction, I think, are going to be very, very craveable in the future. And I've heard other people say that. I was listening to Gary Vee. I'm a huge Gary Vee fan. And, he's starting to, or not starting, he's been saying all along that AI is going to take over the world and, our grandkids are going to marry robots and all this other stuff, which I don't know. I don't have a clue if that's ever going to happen. But one thing I did agree that he said is that, we're losing the human interaction now. We're going to lose it even more. And so that's going to be the craveable thing is, videos that are videos that aren't AI, videos and conversations with somebody that's actually real. I think are going to be.
Well, and I think that, yes, the AI is fun and it's novel and it's great, but, and this could just be my perspective because of my age, my demographic and everything. But what I like is the authentic people that go on there that, they're not like super Instagram perfect and, they're relatable. They are unapologetically who they are, right, wrong, or indifferent. I think that there is a huge demographic that does crave that does want, authentic people. Like, show me your messy kitchen. Like, don't tell me that like your life is perfect,
For sure. Yep. Humans would, great comment. Humans will like to know what they're listening to is from a real human. Doing videos is worth the effort, and I totally agree.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get, it's one of the biggest things I try to talk our clients into, because once, especially in our medical spa space that we're in, they've got to build trust,
Yeah.
for someone that a stranger doesn't know anything about anything goes in to have somebody start poking needles around their face. You kind of want a little bit more trust before you actually go down that road. And video helps with that a lot, because you can put a face to a message. You can put, when you go in and see the people at the business, you meet the people that are on the video. And, I think that's always been so important, but even now nowadays, it will be even more valuable in the future. So,
Well, and that falls back into consistency and branding. So if I'm putting up a website, you know me, I don't know if everybody out there knows me, but I am consistently asking clients, can I get pictures of your location? Can I have pictures of your staff? Because when somebody goes to the website and they see it and then they walk in the doors and there's a total disconnect, that's going to shake their trust. And I want to increase the trust factor. Like, I want to, again, show that you're real human people, show that you really care, but also, consistency and branding. And, stock images have their place. I get it. I totally understand. Not everybody has a huge budget, but a lot of people don't realize you can take some really great quality photos on your phone. Just don't compress them. Think about your backgrounds, make sure that, that it's a nice picture. And then I can always integrate that into the website.
yeah, and that's for sure, 100%. I mean, I've been doing these videos for about two weeks now, and I've done videos. Obviously, I've got a bunch of stuff on our YouTube channel, but these ones are a little bit different because, they're not edited. I don't have a video editor on staff. They're just me talking, and I've had to stop. I mean, I was telling Elizabeth when I was doing the videos this weekend and out driving, and I hit a dead end in the road I didn't even expect. And I said, like, oh shit, road ended. So I stopped the video and started all over again. So, but it's,
okay, but like that, you probably should keep that in there. And the reason I say that is because that's the authenticity,
yeah,
like,
for sure.
it happens. It's real life and it's a real person. And, yes, I do agree. Pretty graphics and nicely edited videos are very professional foot forward, and I like it. But I do think with a lot of the editing, we want that authenticity, But
Yeah.
and again, you can pop the little comment on there, but it goes beyond trust, because you get the gurus who know that nothing gets loads of clients because they're the ones making the videos and they're getting eyeballs on. Because of our search history, I get a lot of stuff come across that is not always applicable to me, but I see them and I'm like, okay, so you're this, world famous coach that makes millions and millions of dollars. And like, I have no idea who you are. Like, I've never heard of you before, but you've got a really pretty compelling video, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I am your target audience or that I want to click. But I know that people click, all the time.
100%. Yep. And that's, that I don't know. I think social media is so important nowadays. YouTube so important. Getting your brand out there. Not just text. Get it out there in video form and image form, and do some fun, lighthearted type of stuff. Don't be so serious and rigid. And again, just like you said, more human. Just be more human. And you're right. I probably should have kept that in there because it was a kind of funny moment. But then I had to, of course, back up, turn around, and whole drama with all that. But it's I like the fact that putting our humanness out there. Just like this podcast, I love this podcast, and one of the reasons we started doing this was to put a face to Terry and Elisabeth, the people that don't know us outside spring training and Salterra and the other stuff that we are involved with. So, but what do you see as one of the biggest trends right now in web design?
Oh, I think we talked about this last week too. Everything is cyclical. What was hot and popping several years ago does kind of come back around. Animations come and go, sliders come and go, white space always. I just think that the most important thing is to connect with your end user. You want to make sure that your messaging, that your image is consistent with who you are, so it resonates that trust, and so that people get a good sense, because you're going to find your tribe, and through marketing, that is a really great way to connect with people, but you obviously need to make sure that you are spot on and there aren't those disconnects, because you and I have both seen and experienced, like, you see a great review for a restaurant online. Oh my gosh, here's a perfect example. We saw in one of our local groups a thing about, we're a struggling restaurant in our local area. We're family owned. That's something that you and I resonate with, because we always want to support the little guy as well. Yeah. And we're like, okay, well, let's go try it. Let's give him a shot. And we go in, and I was like, oh, okay. Like, it didn't resonate with us. And so I'm sorry, we're probably not going to go back again, but it really helps to make sure that your messaging is clear, your visuals are clear, and you are absolutely authentically who you are, Yep.
Definitely.
And don't brag about the tacos if you don't.
Well, I ran into a thing here the other day. I was doing an audit on a website, and I didn't even know who the person was. It came from an agency. But I asked the agency, I'd like to talk to this person. And only because there were some things that, technically were wrong on the server side, and this agency didn't have much information on it. But anyways, it was just a phone call. I don't know what the lady looked like, but just the sound of her voice and her enthusiasm didn't even resonate with the design of her website. It was really weird. When I hung up the phone, I was like, wow, the website needs to be more popping, more doing things, more, because you can tell her personality wasn't in that. And one of the things that you're really good at is people will spend a fortune hiring a designer and doing all these great things for their, all their getting the office space ready and beautiful and relaxing and all this stuff. And then you go to their website and it's just like, okay, I hate to say this, but your website doesn't give that same warm fuzzy that your office space does. And I think people need to pay more attention to that, especially small businesses that are now finally realizing how important it is to have a good digital presence. If you don't have a really good digital presence in this day and age, I don't know how long you're going to make it. I hate to say it that way, but it's facts. If you don't have a good functioning website that's very high conversions and all the stuff that we have to do to get leads into our business, or you have a black website with pink writing, like our limo client we had a few years ago. He loved the colors, but nobody else did. So, and again, it didn't match his personality. He just thought the colors were cool. So, but I think that's the biggest trend that I've seen on the web design side or the development side, is that people need to pay attention to, is this a website I am so proud of that I'm going to send everybody I meet to my website? And if it's not like that, then you probably need to talk to a designer or somebody like Elisabeth that will help you, kind of reiterate your brand and your digital presence. So,
right. I mean, you know me, I want to dig out as much information as possible. Like, I like sample sites of what you like. Yes, absolutely. But I also want to know, like, who you are, what you do, what are some images? Like, I really want to dig deep. Like, that's just me though, you know?
Yeah. And, you know, a lot of people, we still meet people that, you know, don't want to take that much time to do stuff. And, you know,
Oh
it is
my
what
God.
it is. So,
So I think people seriously underestimate what goes into building a website. And maybe there are a lot of people out there that, yeah, they can do it in a weekend or 2 weeks or whatever. But is that a true representation of your business? Like, I literally had a client that, you know, we're halfway through the project and she is completely overwhelmed. She goes, I had no idea that it took this much to do a website. Like, and my answer to that is like, I need to accurately represent your business. I need to know all the things, and I need to be able to tell Google who you are and what you do and how you do it and why you're different and what makes you unique in your industry and why you care so much about your clients. And I can't do that unless I like literally pull all that information out of you.
yeah, exactly.
So
But
I'm not.
you're very good at doing that, though. You're very good at pulling stuff out of people. So
Thank
it's
you.
one of your strong suits. Me, I'm just like, F it, I'll do it myself.
Yeah. Here's a template. Here's some stock images.
Exactly.
No,
So,
no, no.
good deal. So, but yeah, so you know, I mean, there's a lot of things happening, obviously, with AI and the AI overviews. You know, I had a guy message me a couple of days ago, and you know, how does Schema work into the large language models, the LLMs? You know, and it's something we're going to talk about in these little short video stuff that we're going to do. But I think the biggest thing is again, Google, Yahoo, Bing, Chat, Perplexity, all these things just need to better understand your content. You know, they need to better understand your topics. They need to better understand, just like Merlino always talks about, what do you do? How do you do it? And where do you do it? That's the biggest thing, you know. And then so your brand, what does your brand say about you? If you're not searching your brand every, you know, 4 or 5 times a month to see what shows up when people search your brand or your client's brand, you need to add that in because it changes all the time, and you will find stuff that maybe you don't want, you know. So my Terry Samuel's name, I have a professional football player that has that name. So for years, I've been trying to do things to get my name above his name. And, you know, obviously he's got all kinds of stuff out there, you know, about his NFL playing days and stuff. And that's fine, you know, but if you go and search now, my pictures are starting to show up into his little result, his featured snippet. So I can see that I'm making an impact, and this is all from Schema. So I can see, I know Schema makes an impact and all that stuff because it definitely gives more information for the search engines to have a better idea of who you are, where you do it, and all that good stuff. So I'll go into more of that in these little videos that I do. So I want you to look forward to seeing those, and then ask me your questions about it. You know, I've been teaching Schema for 7 years now, and I'm still think it's one of the most important things you can do. Can you rank without it? Hell yeah, you can rank without it. I'll stop that argument right now. But, you know, are you giving the search engines everything that you want them to know about you, your brand, your page, your topics?
That's definitely the thing is like, yes, it adds to it. It's not essential, but why would you not take every advantage and opportunity to give Google everything in a very clear, understandable, concise way
Yep.
that yes, it's all for Google. It's not for the end user, and we're not ever debating that, but it's a balance. Like, yes, you have to have a good, solid website designed for the end user because eyes on page is going to be who's clicking, you know, and bot clicks are not going to get you money into your business and customers. So it's a strategy. It works, but you want people to walk through your door and buy your services, and that is still live people. So Your
Yep.
site has to be built for that. And I'm definitely a big proponent, but why would you not do everything you can to clearly present who you are, what you do, where you do it, how you do it, why you do it?
Yep. And that's the biggest thing, so we want to make sure that, or I want to make sure that I'm giving a better snapshot of what the search engines or, AI is crawling than my competitors.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I still believe the old days of seeing what the top three competitors are doing, and you just need to match what they're doing, I think are going away very, very quickly. So, and then you also, when you throw in schema and you throw in the type of schema that we do, to where you're basically building a second website in the code, then when Google crawls those pages or crawls your site and starts realizing, wow, this page is about this, and now I have even more stuff in schema to explain about different relationships with entities or semantics or all the different things that we might not put on the public side, I can put in the schema. And
Yeah.
it's great. I mean, I get people hire us a lot to do schema for them. I've never really had anybody that say, "Oh shit, it doesn't work." But again, you have to take it seriously. If you're a plugin schema person, hey, that's great. Be a plugin schema person. You're just one of the 4 million people that have, the Yoast SEO plugin, and you have Yoast schema. That's fine. You have schema, but why wouldn't you want to be better? Why wouldn't you want to be, different and better than everybody else in your industry?
So, I totally, that's something that I have kind of questioned. You and I are absolutely, definitely known for going above and beyond. We, even as people in the world and as parents, we don't like to half-ass shit.
Yep.
So we don't do it in our business. We don't do it for our clients. And there is a lot of people out there that do the bare minimum, and I think that right there is one of the things that we have discussed when we talk about scaling. Is everybody always says, like, when you're looking to scale and when you're delegating, you have to understand that your quality control is going to go down a little bit. And that is something you and I have fought for forever. Why does it have to go down? Why do you have to sacrifice, for scaling, for, I don't know. That's just a touchy subject for you and I think. Don't you agree?
It is. I agree. I mean, we've, I not a half-ass person, no matter what I do. And there's some things that, maybe if you're testing stuff and I don't know, I don't see any point in it, but again, we're different people. We treat our business a little bit different, but I don't ever want to compare myself to anybody else. We do it differently.
Yeah. So you said that the next set of videos that you're going to put out is all about schema, obviously.
Mhm. Yep.
Cool. I know we touched on the digital conference. Really great opportunity to dig in. Practical applications of what's going on.
Yep. And get your tickets too. Get your tickets to this conference. It's just because it's online doesn't mean we're not going to limit people to this. So we still have to respect the teachers being able to teach. So
yeah.
We are going to limit this, and we are going to shut off ticket sales at one point. We're not going to announce when that's going to be, but just in order so a teacher doesn't have to sit up there and teach to 500 people. That would
because if you're actually teaching and doing, like, there is going to be a certain amount of people that you're going to have to slow down for, and make sure that they're caught up so that everybody is at the same speed. And at scale, it's just not doable.
Yep. I agree 100%. So, but yes, please get your tickets. If there's something specific that you're struggling with or maybe want to learn, let me know, and I'll let you know if we have that topic or something like that covered, or maybe I can even ask somebody that, that is struggling with a topic or something, because that's the biggest thing with this AI thing is, like I said before, it's changing so quickly that I have a couple of the teachers that, you know, they give me a topic and they say, oh, wait a minute, this might be better. I mean, so because it's just constantly changing. So but let us know.
Cool.
That's about it.
And then a lot of cool stuff going with SEO University.
Yeah, SEO University's getting ready to explode. So that place, that's good. We're actually going to do some pre-registration starting this week with SEO University to get ready for the end of August. And this one is going to be really cool. So it's going to be, you know, all kinds of neat things. And it's set up to where anybody at any level can go through this university. So it's even built for the local plumber that wants to do SEO themselves. You know, so it's really got some cool things in it as far as, you know, teachability, do it yourself type stuff, get your questions answered with me personally. And, you know, we have a private Facebook group. We have all kinds of things that we're going to be doing with the university. So
cool.
Well, that's pretty much how I had this week. So we closed a little bit early, you know, 9 minutes. So anyways, no more questions.
Okay. Do you remember the 4? Do you remember the 4?
Like, share, follow, subscribe.
Yay! You can.
I have it written down on my sticky note on my desk.
Did you actually write the sticky note? I threatened to do that for you.
But yeah, I always forget to ask that. So, you know, but all the good stuff, all the things.
So, all the things, all 4. Like, follow, share, subscribe.
Exactly. So anyways, thank you everybody for joining us. We'll be back next Monday. Next Monday, we're going to start introducing some of the teachers. They're going to come on and talk to us a little bit about what they're going to be teaching. Pay attention to the SEOspringtraining.com/digital page because we are going to be putting the schedule up there. I think I'm pretty close to being done. I think I've only got 2 more things I got to figure out. So that'll be up there, and then you'll be able to see who's teaching what day and what they're teaching on. So it's going to be pretty exciting. So no more 8-minute questions. Cool. So, all right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us today. We appreciate your time. And again, we'll see you next Monday. Reach out to Elisabeth and I through salterrasite.com if you have any questions or concerns. And have an awesome week, everybody.
Awesome. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.